Hello, butterfly. Are you there?
Oh, yes, Mr. Dragon, I'm here.
Butterfly, I want to ask you about your theoretical framework in your research.
Oh, yes, yes. Um, I have 25, but I'm going only to explain in this moment three of them. First one, I have Erika Huff, Hoff, and her research name language development. In this book, she supposes that curriculums in early childhood development are used like an umbrella, and is an umbrella with many experiences and variety of languages in which they interlink competences and competence full process of how students understand and cope a direct relation with teaching and understanding their learning. My second very important researcher is an investigation which has come from two researchers called Dickinson and Newman.
Oh, that is very lovely, butterfly. Can you tell us about their work?
Yes, they make a descriptive research about early childhood literacy. In this research, which is called Handbook of Early Literacy Research, they take the differences of communicational skills in toddlers, and they explain that the lecture and the writing and the listening as well as the speaking process is a process that goes between kinder and first grade, and this process is addressed by different degrees of competencies.
Oh, very nice, butterfly. Can you tell us about your local researchers in your research?
Oh, yes, totally. And we have in Latin America a very important researcher that is called Frida Diaz Barriga. And she is a researcher that take a lot of research from Diaz and from Mexico, who is wants to understand the theory about the curriculum. She's saying that the curriculum is a compound of variety of agreements between the institutions and has very important and changes and transformations during the scholar year or during a long process of education in an institution. The importance of these agreements tends to transform the institution or the scholar context.
Oh, nice, butterfly. Can you tell us about local researchers of the research that you are into?
Yes, totally. One of the most important researchers in Colombia are two, or two of these important researchers. I'm going to name it for this research, where the two following relevance I'm going to name you. The first one is called Elizabeth Baron. Baron make research in terms of. Oh, I'm going to show you the book. This is her book, and it's about consuming culture, English, and globalization. She make a documentary research in terms of how do we teach in Colombia and what do we understand in Latin America about English and other languages in contact. Baron was addressing that early childhood development has a level, and this level is called the threshold level. And what is the threshold level? The threshold level is a level in which students can use the information in family, shopping, spiritual context, and basic levels where they can use as a pragmatic form the language, so they can communicate with their peers, their contacts, their mothers, their family, in terms of how I am going to be using my prompts and my communication to send a message to another person and to be an understandable little kid. Then Baron addressed also another competence that is called the intercultural competence, but we're going to see this one later. The second researcher, who is Sharkey, making research in Universidad Nacional, and the title of her research was called "The Role of Communication Explorations in Developing Meaningful Curriculum." She did research about how the relationships between teachers and students is meaningful and how this can be an element which is important in the curriculum. And also she did a critique to the national standards and the politics around the how do we design politics for the early childhood curriculums, and also the big curriculums for primary, elementary, and high school, and also for university. Is this a standard communication? No, standard education, or we're looking forward different varieties to understand each other, such as teacher and student relation. Oh, thank you. But tell me something. Why is that so relevant? Connections are very important. So Sharkey addressed that these connections must be or could be explicit in curriculums. Oh, thank you very much. Now I would like that you see the following video in terms of local reference, such as Santa Barbara's kindergarten and Rochester Educational Project. Thank you. Bye, butterfly. See you.